This show is like a fucking tumor that just will not go away. Okay, Back to the Future arc. We begin with the aftermath of the first game when the surviving students emerge into the outside world and the Future Foundation comes to the rescue. Then Athena fakes being sad about the fact that Junko killed everyone when in reality that's exactly what she wanted and who fucking cares. Catching back up with the current timeline, we get aligned and it's just, you just want to die.
So you, of all people, figured out who the attacker is.
Fucking excuse me? Did I hear that correctly? Did I just hear the man who thinks that the best way to stop despair from spreading was by murdering every single person on the planet, passive-aggressively insinuate that Hina doesn't have the intelligence required to solve the mystery? Okay then. Yeah, I just want to make sure I heard that correctly. Fuck off, you dumbass show. Stop pretending like Hina is some airheaded moron. She has more intelligence in her little pinky than any of the new characters you constantly shove down my throats and beg me to care about do. And even if you don't think she's smart, she's holding Kyoko's handy-dandy notebook. You know? The ultimate detective. So regardless of whether or not you think Hina is smart, her information is coming straight from the smartest character in this goddamn show. Fuck off. After the batshit crazy things you said, you can get right the hell off your little soapbox. Anyway, Hina is holding out the handy dandy notebook and it turns out that Kyoko has already found all 3 of Blue's clues, so now we can finally sit in the thinking chair and figure out what the hell is going on. It is revealed that the only prints on the murder weapon have been from the victims themselves and that the stab wounds have been in places that you could easily reach by yourself, meaning that all the deaths up until this point have been suicides induced by some kind of brainwashing video played on a nearby monitor, as anybody with a functioning brain figured out immediately, and then further confirmed that theory when the stupid brainwashing shit was revealed in the Despair arc. Now that this theory has been officially confirmed by the game, you may have some questions about the logistics of this, such as, if your goal is to spread despair, why not just wake up everybody and then cause a mass suicide for maximum despair? Especially when one of the people you have trapped in this building is Makoto Naegi, the ultimate hope? Like, why would you bother with all this bullshit at all if it's not being televised? The excuse prior to this point was that you wanted people to watch them undergo this killing game so that everyone would watch the students fall to despair and subsequently fall to despair themselves. But this is a closed-circuit game. Nobody has any idea what's happening in here right now except for Peculiar's team, who's dead. So why would you even bother with the killing game instead of just killing everyone outright? Well, you see, dear viewer, this show has a very, very good explanation for all of this that we'll be getting into in the final episode. So please hold all these questions in your head. We'll be coming back to them in a few days. So Steel Samurai doesn't believe Kyoko's theory because he's an asshole, and so to prove she's correct, Makoto ties himself up and sits in front of one of the monitors? What the fuck? What is this gonna prove? The other people aren't gonna be awake to witness this. They're gonna leave you tied up, fall asleep, and then wake up without knowing what happened in between then and now. You could tell them a fucking dinosaur dropped by, and they would have equally as little chance of proving that as they would if you told them that the monitor tried to brainwash you. This isn't gonna prove shit, unless your plan is to sacrifice yourself, thus proving the suicide theory. But that's obviously not the case because you explicitly say that you plan to be a survivor. So then what the fuck are you doing? All you're doing is risking your own life. What happens if the ropes aren't tight enough to contain you? You're being brainwashed. You are going to lose your agency as a human being. Anything can happen. Why would you ever risk this? Just go hide in a room with no monitors. You will win instantly. With no monitors, you can't possibly be brainwashed. What are you doing? Who wrote this? So then they all fall asleep and then Makoto wakes up to Jacksepticeye. And then he plays his newest video for Makoto to watch and it's the fucking Monokuma Theater again. God damn it. And this time the video that's used to brainwash Makoto makes use of flashy color palettes to manipulate the brain into feeling a certain way. Show, listen to me, for fuck's sake. Be consistent. For once in your goddamn life. How hard is it to not contradict yourselves? The last time we saw the brainwashing technology being used, there was nothing special about it at all. It was literally just the raw footage of Shocky being brutalized. In fact, the only 2 times that we've seen this technology being used, it was without any sort of special editing or animation whatsoever. It was just raw footage, which makes no goddamn sense at all. But if you establish that you don't need any flashy colors to get the job done, then what do you call this shit? Do you need special animations or not? We now interrupt this program to bring you an acid trip. Colors everywhere. No. And then the spirits of all the dead students from the first game come back from the dead, rising up like creepy-ass animatronic robots to torment Makoto and make him feel like this is all his fault.
You're such a liar. Remember you swore to get me out alive? What happened there?
What happened there? What happened there? What do you mean, what happened there? You tried to frame him for murder. That's what happened there. So they all tell Makoto he's the one that should have died, all the while we have to watch these lifeless corpses reenact their death sequences. And then watch Makoto proceed to lose his collective fucking mind and squirm around on the floor. To describe this scene as disturbing would be the understatement of the century. You are literally forced to watch a man go insane and try to fucking kill himself. Oh, but how could he kill himself when he's all tied up, you ask? Well, you see, there just so happened to be an exposed sharp object nearby that he accidentally bumps into that allows him to wiggle free. Are you fucking kidding me? You clods didn't check the area before you left him alone? You didn't check for any sharp objects he could have used to break free of his ropes? What the fuck is wrong with you? How are you all so goddamn incompetent? Then and I'm not yanking your chain here, a knife drops out of the monitor and lands right next to Makoto, so he has the tool he needs to commit suicide. How could you have possibly set all this up? How could you have set up the monitors, built a replicant base underwater with working electricity and water systems in place without anyone knowing? How did you get the resources? How did you build everything? Somebody would have fucking seen you! Someone would have noticed a package being shipped with excess supplies. How did you set all this up? Anyway, Makoto fucking dies, because there's no way he could possibly break free from mind control. Only no he doesn't, because Matt fucking teleports into the scene and snipes the knife out of his hands. I'm not fucking kidding here, this actually happens. Hey, remember in episode 9 when you were fucking dead? Stabbed to death by the Steel Samurai? Yeah, well fuck that, he's not only alive, but able to walk around freely, and still has the body strength to smack the knife out of his hands and then pin Makoto to the wall. Yeah, 2 seconds after saving his life, he tries to fucking kill him. Cool. He also says,
"You're the man who defeated Junko in Oshima. If you think I'm gonna let you kill yourself, you're dumber than you look."
Hey, remember at the beginning of this nightmare when you implied that he could have faked his victory over Junko Enoshima? Uh-oh. Did somebody forget their own script again? And that's not even mentioning the fact that, really? You're just here? Out of all the places in this entire building that you could possibly be, you just so happened to drop down to the lower floor, since, remember, Makoto tackled the Steel Samurai down here, but we saw Matt die on the upper level, and just so happened to be at this exact spot at the exact right moment Makoto needed you to save his life. I was wrong about the plot armor jacket. Makoto doesn't need to wear plot armor. He is plot armor.
Fucking idiot. He got lucky because he's the ultimate lucky student.
No, shut the fuck up. Can't with this stupid bullshit of characters luck being the only thing that pushes the stupid plot forward. That is so goddamn stupid. And that's not even mentioning the fact that how are you awake right now? Oh, I see. It's because he chopped off his left arm so the bracelet couldn't knock him out. But also, what in the holiest of fucks? How? How did you do this? How could you possibly have done this all by yourself? How did you find something sharp enough to cut off your arm, let alone have the raw strength and willpower to actually do that to yourself? Remember when Clementine had to sterilize and sew up her own dog bite wound all by herself at the age of 11 because she's a fucking badass, and it sapped every bit of strength she had? Like, she legit almost passed out from doing this. And it took a whole team of people to cut off Lee's arm in the first Walking Dead game, and if you chose to do it by yourself, then you literally passed out afterwards from the blood loss. How the fuck did you do this by yourself? Where did you find a blade sharp enough to do it? Who wrote this fucking script? So then Makoto finally says that they need to destroy all the monitors, but Matt says nah because he's a fucking asshole. Why? You have the chance to end this mess and get out of it once and for all. What are you doing? And why didn't you try to destroy the monitors earlier? You could have been done with this hours ago. But then, we get the reveal that the reason Matt hates Makoto so much is because he managed to defeat Junko Enoshima when he couldn't. No, you did not mishear me. Let me say that again. Matt is pissed at Makoto because he was able to defeat Junko Enoshima when he could not. Who wrote that? Are you kidding me? That's your reason for all of this. Because you didn't want to confess your feelings to the Steel Samurai and were too stupid to think of a different plan to defeat Junko. You are pissed at Makoto because he has a functioning brain? I mean, I'm not surprised that the writers are trying to make out people who think intelligently as the bad guys, but holy fuck, this is so goddamn stupid. It's not Makoto's fault you let your emotions cloud your judgment. You know, that thing you told Athena not to do? So then Matt fucks off to Nowhere Land, and the remaining 2 characters and 1 remaining tumor start smashing all the monitors and discovering that each one of them had their own knife hidden inside. Next, the Steel Samurai teleports into the scene and declares that the old guy was the mastermind all along and he is literally the only person it could have been. Matt then concludes that the only way to break free of this game is to turn off the power to the building? What? Why? Why would that do anything? Why would the bracelets not have their own power source? Why would they be linked to the fucking building's power? It's an independent object. Let me ask you guys something. Do you think that shutting off the power would suddenly make your Apple Watch stop working? Do you guys genuinely believe that? Because if so, excuse me while I laugh my ass off at your utter lack of knowledge about literally anything. Also, Matt's dying because the plot is about to run out of things for him to do, so it's time for him to fucking die. He managed to survive this whole time just so he could keep Makoto alive in this scene, but the plot no longer requires his presence, and so he dies immediately after shutting off the power. Literally. He dies the exact same moment as he takes his final plot-related action. This could not be any more poetically moronic if they tried. So the Steel Samurai runs to him to try to say his final words, and it's completely hollow because these characters received fuck all development for the whole show, and at this point I just want this bullshit to fucking end already. Oh, by the way, shutting off the power didn't just disable the bracelets, it also caused them all to fucking fall off their wrists! How? How does this work? None of this makes any sense. Then Makoto finally decides to ask Lassiter if he knows anything about what's going on with the videos, and his reasoning for asking is because he was the ultimate animator and therefore know all about what was going on. Which makes no goddamn sense, because being a talented animator doesn't mean you have the know-how to brainwash people. Why do you fucks keep conflating the two abilities together as if they're the same thing? They are not the same. They do not correlate. Then he gets a message from old guy? He gets a message from the dead? Oh, fuck me. Get me out of this goddamn show. I'm so beyond sick of this shit. Despair Arc, episode 11. Let's go. The overseas expansion is canceled, but they're keeping the primary location. What the fuck is the point of that? The public likely didn't know about this expansion, and even if they did, I imagine they're probably far more concerned with the primary location where children are actually dying. What the fuck did you think shutting down the expansion was going to accomplish if you're still keeping this primary location up and running? So then Matt walks into the room and tells the Steel Samurai that Junko is completely innocent. And even though he is clearly suffering from injuries, Big Brain Steel Samurai does fuck all about it. He doesn't ask any questions whatsoever about why he looks like he just went through a shredder. He just accepts his words without even a second thought. Matt mentions that Junko apparently has an alibi and then proceeds to do absolutely nothing to confirm that alibi, which there's no way he should have ever been allowed to get away with, since they already said last time that they have a stack of evidence against her, which they obviously would have since security cameras would place her at the scene. Nothing makes any sense in this fucking show. How are you allowed to just say she's innocent, lol, and then he just believes it without a second thought when there's a mountain of evidence directly contradicting that assertion? My fucking brain, fuck this dumbass show. He then asks Athena if she thinks she's innocent, and she has to check her fucking notebook before she can actually answer him. Does that not raise any red flags to you? Why would she not know that answer? Why does she have to consult her handy-dandy notebook? Is she unable to retain the information she writes down? What the fuck ever. Then they break the fourth wall.
If you want a happy ending, you better look elsewhere.
I just want an ending at this point. I want this shit to be done with. This is the purest form of torture, manifested in the form of cognitive sewage masquerading around as a television show.
To win, despair doesn't have to work that hard.
Yeah, no shit. Obviously, Despair doesn't have to work hard because things just work out exactly the way you need them to. The exact people you needed to capture for your plan to work fall directly into your lap through the most contrived bullshit ever. Then we cut back to the main class and they're pretending like everything's totally normal even though they've now been consumed by despair, and we see Junko spying on them with her binoculars. No, absolutely fucking not. Your binoculars are not powerful enough to see through the window with that much clarity from this far away. Who wrote this? So Junko is beating off about how awesome her plan is and how they're gonna bring civilization to its knees by corrupting Hope's Peak Academy, and why is this school the be-all, end-all of everything? In fairness, that's not strictly on this show, that's a problem that's been around since the first game, but it's not any less relevant now, so we're gonna talk about it anyway. Why is the hope of the world staked on this one specific school? It's not like you're watching the leaders of the world be overtaken, you're watching high school students fall to despair, which is obviously a tragic event, but why in the world is everybody centering their principles, worldviews, and daily motivation around the hopefulness of these kids? Why would that ever be the case? And so the invasion of Hope's Peak Academy begins proper as Junko unleashes her army of Reserve Corps students into the school to destroy the place. Yep, she just has the army of Reserve Corps students on her side. She didn't break them, she didn't manipulate them, she didn't even do the bare minimum of brainwashing them on camera. She just magically has an army of Reserve Corps students on her side without any build-up whatsoever. Because fuck you, that's why. Why is the school not going on lockdown? You are literally being invaded by people armed with dangerous weapons. This school needs to be locked the fuck down immediately. Why are you just letting them run rampant and endanger your students? Why are you not doing anything to stop them? They are literally setting fire to the school, murdering everyone that stands in their way. What are you doing? So then the main class randomly loses their fucking minds again, and then Athena blows up the classroom? What is happening? Who wrote this shit? Apparently they need to fake their deaths to protect the reputation of the school while they run around spreading despair? That makes no goddamn sense. The school is already done for. Despair is spreading. We're entering the apocalypse. The school's reputation isn't gonna mean jack shit. And even if it did, they're still gonna recognize you when you're all running around as yourselves spreading despair. This is pointless. And why wouldn't you wait until you get out of the room before you blow it up? Who wrote the script? Anyway, they're all fucking dead, since obviously you can't survive a bomb that blows up in your own goddamn classroom. Or if by some miracle you do, you certainly are not in any condition that's even remotely close to being stable. It is then revealed that Junko apparently erased the students' memories of Izuru, and Izuru is going to erase his memories of them because if they ever meet again, he doesn't want their interaction to be boring. I'm not fucking kidding here, that's actual dialogue from the show.
How much more screen time are we gonna waste on me philosophizing at you?
Where is your self-awareness, you fucking troglodyte? Do you want to go over the amount of wasted screen time you've subjected me to in this show so far? And then we skip straight ahead to the world having already completely fallen to despair? How? How are there already 3,000 deaths? How are there simultaneous worldwide attacks? How could the entire world have possibly found out about what's going on here? And if you're gonna say it's because Junko has her stupid phone app bullshit, then how did Junko's influence reach that far if the only reason why this works is as a result of her stupid brainwashing video? She's only ever been in this one part of the world. How did she meet enough people to be able to spread despair all over the planet? How is this happening? We just go from one small group causing chaos inside the school to people all around the globe going insane because fuck you, that's why. why. What is world building anymore? Next up, we see Rei, Old Guy, and Kyoko's dad having barricaded themselves in an office. So you're just perfectly fine with letting the attackers wipe out all your students except for the main class and hole up in your little bunker? Okay then, cool. Fuck you guys, we don't care about you, we're staying in here. Fuck off. So then Kyoko's dad says that...
She'd have seen this coming. If only I'd enlisted her help.
Which, when I first watched the show, I was ready to make the criticism of, yeah, why the fuck didn't you ask her to help you? She figures out the most insane things based on the shoddiest of evidence. Why would you ever not ask her to investigate the situation? But in conducting my research for this video, I've actually discovered something far, far worse than that. See, it turns out that there was this prequel novel released only in Japan that explores some of the events prior to the first game. And what exactly do we discover when we check out this novel?
While attending Hope's Peak, Kyoko did investigations for her father and the Hope's Peak Academy Steering Committee. She tried to investigate Izuru Kamakura and the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy.
Oops. Looks like you forgot your own story. Again! How can you be this bad at keeping yourself consistent? Was anybody on the team working on continuity? Does anyone have any fucking idea what series you're trying to continue? Are you even vaguely aware of what happened in your own timeline? Does anybody give a shit? So then Old Guy fucks off to the outside world with Rei while Kyoko's dad stays behind to watch over his daughter as she and her classmates are busy bunkering down inside the school, and who fucking cares, let's just move on. Then Junko sends every single one of her minions another brainwashing message that tells them all to kill themselves! I am not yanking your chain. They all just fucking jump out of the school windows and start raining from the sky, dying off one by one. And as a gentle reminder, this all happens because Junko now has control over brainwashing technology, which she can apparently whip up at a moment's notice with the use of nothing more than her phone. Why are you only now using the flashy killer scheme to control them when before all you needed was raw security footage? How did you pull this off when John Lasseter is fucked off to the middle of nowhere? Oh my god, this is so bad, none of this makes any sense. Then Mukuro understandably asked Junko why she bothered to kill them all instead of continuing to use them to spread despair throughout the world, and her exact response to that question is this.
Say what? Because Pug Ugly, they have too much in common with you. They're all stupid.
You're calling them stupid? What are you talking about? You hired this team of idiots to become the remnants of despair. Your own golden child is someone who doesn't even know what a fucking elevator is. What in the world are you talking about, you gelatinous candy cane fuck? We then jump over to the castle of the first game preparing to lock themselves in so they can live to fight another day and save the world eventually. How? How could you possibly be unharmed? How did not a single one of you manage to be attacked during the invasion? How did none of them make it in here? You could not possibly have foreseen the attack coming, especially with Yasuhiro's abhorrent fortune-telling abilities. So how did you keep them all away from you? How has nobody here been attacked? And are none of you even a little bit curious as to why Junko was mysteriously absent from your class while the invasion was going on? Then some straight up bullshit happens. Junko chucks a wrench at Makoto trying to kill him because he's the only possibility of her plan failing, but he just so happens to slip on a random fucking napkin, thus allowing the wrench to fly right over his head. What the fuck? What were you thinking? If this worked, your plan was completely fucked because everyone in the damn room would have seen exactly what happened and you would have completely lost any amount of trust you previously had with these people. What the fuck were you thinking? Is no one gonna ask why she just randomly chucked a wrench in Makoto's direction at the speed of Sonic? So then we get a shot of Junko trying to wrench this out of the wall. I'm too fucking tired of this shit to rimshot my own pun. And while she's doing that, Makoto is just walking in place. I did not edit this footage. This is an actual clip of animation. So it turns out that the reason Junko was afraid of Makoto is because he has luck on his side, which, as we know, is the ultimate plot device in this universe, so it makes sense for her to be afraid of it. But you know what doesn't make sense? The next words out of her mouth.
And not the way Komaeda does either. It comes and goes at random, very difficult to get a lock on.
What? You're saying this as an opposition to Nagito's luck? You know, the man who managed to somehow be lucky enough to accidentally find a secret passage in the park, but also unlucky enough to have his fucking gun jam when he needs it most within 2 minutes of each other? And Makoto's luck is the one that comes and goes based on what the writers decide. Okay then. Fuck off, you dumbass show. Mukuro asks Junko if she's gonna kill Makoto and she says nah. What? Not 2 fucking seconds ago you chucked a wrench at his face to try to kill him! What are you talking about? Also, why would you not want him dead? He stands to ruin your entire plan. He is the only person alive capable of stopping you. Why are you keeping him alive? Who wrote the script? Then we cut to outside the school where we see that the entirety of the main class is alive? What the fuck is happening? What is it with every character being immune to explosions? The bomb went off inside the classroom. How are you geriatric fucks still alive? How did you survive that? How did Athena survive that? How are any of you still alive? So then the Steel Samurai comes to the classroom because he somehow wasn't killed by the attackers either. Athena says that the classroom blew up her students, and once again, our big brain samurai over here doesn't question the fact that there clearly aren't any bodies in this classroom, which there absolutely fucking should be if a bomb went off. Nor does he question how in the hell Athena managed to survive the explosion when no one else did. And he certainly doesn't question why Athena is abandoning her wallet with the only memento she has of her classmates when not 2 fucking seconds ago she was bawling her eyes out because her students were killed. We then see the 3 fucketeers standing amidst a city ruined by despair as the apocalypse begins proper, while Matt beats himself up over the fact that this is all his fault. And while he absolutely should have done something about Junko, let's not forget that the real reason this shit started was because this fucking chode has an anime obsession. And then we get one final shot of Junko Enoshima practicing for her audition for the part of Monokuma, followed by a flash forward to when Hajime meets Chiaki in Danganronpa 2, and thus ends the despair arc. I hate this fucking show so goddamn much. You completely wasted this. You had 11 episodes to work with to show how Junko personally manipulated every single member of the class, how she poked and prodded at all of their deepest, most personal secrets and fears, and twisted them all until their resolve shattered to pieces. And instead, we watched a Smash tournament, a butchered Twilight Syndrome case, Big Doggo, a school blowing up with absolutely no casualties, and an armada of brainwashing bullshit that makes no sense and only seeks to annihilate any qualities Junko Enoshima once had as a villain, and bring Chiaki back from the dead only to mercilessly kill her again for the sake of baiting an emotional reaction. Fuck you! You had the perfect opportunity to flesh out these characters even more and provide logical reasoning for how Junko was able to corrupt an entire department of students, and you completely wasted all of it. You fucks need to never write anything again for the rest of your lives. You clearly cannot be trusted behind a script. But hey, at the very least, maybe the future arc will have a better conclusion. Let's fucking hope so anyway. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I hope to see you all on Friday for the grand finale of Danganronpa 3, and in turn, the entire Hope's Peak Academy arc. Goodbye!